I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. More iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight the stars and cars of the U.S. Open Wheel C Series, the artist formerly known as Indy Pro 2000, take on Oulton Park Circuit in Little Budworth, England. My name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth by the new Ezra IndyCar Series champion, James Watson. You just got to see that race a little bit ago. My goodness, we are in for a show here, James. I have heard this called a baby green hell. I've heard it compared to both Road America and Road Atlanta. Oulton Park, not Oran Park, Oulton Park. You're at the right place tonight, right? This is one of those places that it's just fun, man.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. It's a great classic flowy type circuit, you know. We're gonna see a lot of chaos. The whole theme of the night is chaos, because like between the previous race with Ezra and like God himself coming down from heaven to hand me the championship that I thought I threw away. Like yeah. Thank you, God, for that. Yeah, we're going to be in for some mass chaos. I don't think I've ever seen a race with these cars here where turn one wasn't a dumpster fire. Like I remember Shock and Bolt here, both turn ones being dumpster fires. So good luck, everybody.
Yeah, that's a big part of this. Now, one of the things that we have to talk about here is the overall and series championships here for the broadcast championship standings. Let's get rid of that for just a second, and we'll show you as David Porcelli is working his qualifying session. Ted Burns leading heading into tonight. 2 races, 2 wins. He's led every lap of the season. We'll talk more about that in a minute, too. Leading the Open Wheel C championship points over Everett Paddock, David Porcelli, Nicholas Daly all tied on 12. Nikita Lastuchkin and Carter Lundy pairing up for the 5th position. Actually, 5th position at 10 points apiece. Looking at the overall championship, it has been all Ted Burns. Ridiculous. 60 points. He's got 32 over Carter Lundy. David Porcelli, Nagisa Yoshikawa, Nicholas Daly, the top 5 as we are this week running the Oulton Park circuit. Just abject insanity is what we have here in this championship. Outside of Ted Burns, who this is no joke. Looking at the stats, 9 starts this far in the U.S. Open Wheel C Championship. 9 wins. He has led 157 laps of 157 laps completed. He is perfect this season. It's Ted Burns' house, and we're all just here kind of crashing on the couch.
Yeah, like, this is an astonishing level of dominance. Like, he's not going up against scrubs. These are legitimate top-tier drivers. These are aliens in their own right. And he's just so fast. Like, we're all kind of in awe of watching Ted this season. He's just on another level right now.
Yeah, following along here with Ted Burns. It's ridiculous. Now, in qualifying, they're already working lap number 2. David Porcelli, how about 4.5 of a second back? 128.036 for Teddy B. Porcelli, 128.082. They're a quarter of a second up on Everett Paddock in third. Right as we say that, how about it? New quick time. They're coming in hot and heavy. Carter Lundy, top of the board, 127.760. 127.765 for Sean Malloy Esquire. Everett Paddock to third. Ted Burns, what's he going to do? Lap 2 is in the books. It's an improvement, but not enough. 127.783. He's going to be good for third quick. Everett Paddock fourth. Great lap for Nagisa Yoshikawa. He's up to fifth. Pick up Dylan Vilashinsky. He's working his way around on lap number 2. New quick time, David Porcelli, 127.616. He's got a 10th and a half on Carter Lundy. Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, David heard what we were saying about Ted, and he's like, hey now, I'm the reigning champion, don't you forget that.
Yeah. My goodness. By the way, another monster race coming up here. 32.96 strength of field. And don't go anywhere. The USF 2000 race, US Open Wheel D, 4,004 strength of field.
That's unreal.
You're talking road to pro level stuff here on the NASCAR car side of things as qualifications are over.
Well, actually, if we were talking about road to pro, we'd be talking about like a 5 and 6K SOF. We're not quite there yet.
Well, yeah. On the USF 2000 side, we are definitely starting to get there.
Yeah.
My goodness, things. Go ahead, James.
USF Pro qualifying series when iRacing?
The road to USF.
The NXT to NXT.
That makes my head hurt. I think I understand what you're saying. Comment coming in from Jason Owens. Will the Turn 1 Land Rush bring more or less social anxiety than a Capacity Magic Kingdom on Christmas Day? Shut up, you're in Florida. I don't want to hear it. Oh my God, it's going to be one of those nights. All right, let's take a look at the starting grid. David Porcelli, Carter Lundy occupying row number 1 for tonight's race. Sean Malloy Esquire, Nikita Lastochkin on row number 2. I didn't even see Nikita get his second lap in. Good Lord. Ted Burns, Everett Paddock on row 3. That is a monster third row. Same for row 4. Nagisa Yoshikawa and Richard Holt. Nicholas Daly, Rod Eskew on row 5. Row number 6, Brian Labarge and Tyler Maccabee. Row 7, Mike Holler and Drew Johnson. Row number 8, Liam Loisel and Stephen C. Thompson. Row number 9, Simon Fell and Dylan Vilashinsky. Westshire, Michael Prudhomme on row number 10. And Brian Karszewski making up Row number 11, all to his lonesome. Just waiting for Liam Loisel to get out onto the grid. Jason saying also, huge fan of that stellar Valvoline livery. It's a good one, but I'm going to say slightly played out. You can send the hate mail directly to me on that one. Oulton Park International as the field heads up under the bridge. 2.692 miles, 4.33 kilometers in Little Budworth, Cheshire, England, as we mentioned. 17 corners, and some of my favorite corner names. Denton's, good name for a corner, terrible corner, it's not a corner. Cascades at turn 3. Britain's, the 789 chicane complex. Hislops, Knickerbrook. This one's going to be fun. A little bit of a bottle up. Green flag goes to the air. Big move by Teddy B. Oh, here's the land rush to one. Burns inside.
Oh, no. Lord.
Oh, my goodness. What a start. They're still too wide for the lead. Porcelli and Lundy gonna battle. Where is Ted Burns gonna go? Ted Burns isn't going anywhere. Porcelli gonna hold the lead. Now Burns inside of Lundy. He's gonna try to move himself up to second, almost making a little bit of contact.
Oh, they're side by side into the chicane.
Oh, they get it narrowed out. Now the chase is on. Ted Burns has to get past David Porcelli before the end of this lap if he wants to keep the streak alive of leading every lap on the season. I'll tell you what, it is really impressive what Ted Burns was able to do there. Doing that on cold tires is not easy. Trying that kind of series of moves with a handful of laps on the tires, a little bit of heat in them, that's doable. Doing it on lap 1 is gutsy.
I'm still trying to figure out how they didn't wad them all up.
Yeah, I have no idea. We do have a couple of issues that have happened since the start here. Liam Loisel electing to start from pit lane. He had a very short off track, as did Drew Johnson. Brian Karszewski, a little bit longer one. Tyler Maccabee having a short off track as well. Top 3 staying up nice and tight on each other. Slide back a little bit here. Richard Holt dive bombing inside of Nagisa Yoshikawa into the second of the chicanes. That's the Hislops chicane. Through turn 15, that's Druid's Corner underneath the Warwick Bridge. Then you get to Lodge Corner and perhaps my favorite corner name on iRacing, which is saying something. Deer Leap. Why? I don't know, because it's Deer Leap. That's it, turn 17 right there, right before the start-finish line. Oh, a little bit of an off track there for Nagisa Yoshikawa. He's able to keep things on the racetrack. Slide back up to the front of the field here as the leaders checking out a little bit now. On 4th place, Nikita Lastochkin. Yeah, good question. Maybe a little bit of damage for Nagisa. Doesn't look like he's slowing up all that much.
problems for Lastoshkin.
Trouble for Nikita Lastochkin. Take a look. He big off track here for Nikita. Coming back, finally getting back on the racetrack. Take a look, the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. See what happened? Oh, just a little bit too much. Slides it off the racetrack. And now he's going to have to wait for the entire field to come past. Oh, and he almost got it beached. Oh, man. And then re-enters right in front of Liam Loisel. Adding to his early collection of incident points, entering the race with 31 incidents over 6 starts this season, but he is second in the overall points by 3 over Everett Paddock. Speaking of Everett Paddock, let's slide back here, pick him up. About 4 seconds back of third place, Carter Lundy, Sean Malloy, Richard Holt, Everett Nagisa. They're all running pretty tight. Rod Eskew going to be there as well. Coming up at the conclusion of this race, it will be the re-air of I guess, watch back, whatever you want to call it, of the USF 2000 or US Open Wheel D Series race. James, time for you to get excited. Tasty checking in, saying, let's go, I'm back. What's up, buddy? Hope you are doing well. Battle for the lead, staying tight. It's interesting. This place is really fast. The downforce comes into play here, James, but passing is not easy here at Oulton Park.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see the strategy because, you know, this is a lot less draft locked as we're kind of used to in this series. You know, it feels like 90% or so of the tracks are pretty draft locked. This isn't. There's not enough straightaway, and there's a heck of a lot more corners. So I'm curious to see when and where Ted tries to make his move because, you know, waiting to break the draft doesn't really do you a whole lot of good. So I'm curious to see what Ted is cooking up there.
Yeah, you're really not going to break the draft, especially with there being 3 cars here. Carter Lundy's going to kind of go with whomever he wants to go with. But the third car, whoever that leader is, in this case, David Porcelli, he's going to be able to slot in line, whether that's second or third. You're not exactly giving up a ton if you get past here.
Yeah, and you don't really have to worry about losing the draft. So it makes it a little less stressful, but now you have to factor in, like what you said, it's not easy to pass. You have to set up the run of your life and just outbrake and just hope for the best if you're going to pull it off. Ooh, Carter really looking.
Yeah, seeing the comment coming in from Jason Owens. Let's get this one up here on the screen because he makes a really good point. The top 3 are running insane pace. 127.8s, 127.9s, compared to 128.3 for 4th place Sean Malloy. These guys are flying around this place. And quite frankly, there's not a mistake that's been made. That might be a little bit of what Ted Burns is thinking. He doesn't have to lead every lap. He just needs to lead the last one. Just keep hitting your marks, and eventually you hope that Porcelli's going to make a mistake. There's really no need to force the issue yet.
Commentator's curse.
Engaged. Interesting to watch Teddy B kind of weaving a little bit down the straightaway, kind of showing his car on both mirrors that David Porcelli would be looking in. How much do you actually rely on the mirrors as a driver, James? Because you have the relative, you have an okay spotter system built into iRacing, probably running crew chief or something like that. It's going to give you a little bit better spotter. How much are you actually, it's not like the real world where you're actually checking your mirrors.
Well, I don't know if I'm the person to ask about this. I'm a unique case. I probably spend a good 50 to 60% looking at my mirror, not necessarily staring in it, but just glancing up, because I need to know what's going on behind me, and I get distracted if I don't know what's going on. And with my single monitor setup, I'm basically kind of able to look up at the mirror and still see what's going on with my peripheral vision. And being able to keep my eyes on the mirror as much as I do have saved me from getting rammed from behind and destroyed in a lot of instances. So I tend to rely on the mirror a lot more than the average person.
That's an interesting comment, because I'm looking at 4 different screens right now, but when I'm driving in iRacing, I'm only using one monitor. I find myself glancing at the mirror a bunch because you don't have the spatial awareness around you, especially the periphery. Depending on what kind of setup you drive with, it really becomes important to know you don't have any tactile feedback. You can sort of hear, but you have no seat of the pants feel. You really have to rely on that in some ways, I guess.
Well, what was always funny was, even in my real life racing days, in road course karts and quarter midgets, I would always look behind me. Like, you could see my head turned behind, and like it drove everyone nuts. They're like, "Don't do it, it's dangerous." I'm like, it's not. I can make it work, I swear.
Oh man, Teddy B trying to make a little bit of a move, put some pressure on David Porcelli, created some pressure on himself now as Carter Lundy closing right in. I mean, it's not like he was that far back to begin with, but they're now all within a car length. Serpentining the way through Hislops. Knickerbrook, another great corner name. Couple of other battles on the racetrack. None are as close as what we have at the front here. Tyler Maccabee about a quarter second back of Rod Eskew for the 8th position. 14, 15, 16, Dylan Vilashinsky, Drew Johnson, Wes Shire, all separated by about a half second or so as well. I definitely agree with this comment, and James, maybe you can speak to that. Jason checking in here saying, good/great audio is better for spatial awareness in iRacing than an extra monitor. I would agree with that. Being able to hear what's going on around you is a lot of times more important than seeing it.
I can agree with that. Again, I don't know if I necessarily agree with it from a personal standpoint, because again, I'm very much needing to see what's going on around me. But yeah, the actual audio and being able to hear the cars around you and what your car is doing is a lot more important. Just like this, oh boy.
Side by side for the race lead into Hislops. Burns going to have the preferential line out, but Porcelli, wow, what a great drive. Big power off the corner, a little bit of a wiggle.
Nut up and ball out, baby.
That's getting it done, man, that's for sure. Already approaching halfway home in this one as we work lap number 9 of 17, 8 laps to go. Actually, that is halfway this time. That last section, the Leap Deer section, kind of reminds me of Sebring. That final kind of blast of a corner right to the checkered flag. Very kind of Road Atlanta-esque in that one as well.
I agree. It's always been one of my favorite corners. It's unique on how you need to get through it. The line you have to take, it's kind of deceiving. And if you get on it just a little too much, just like that. But
oh! Carter Lundy with a big dive on Ted Burns. Oh. Wow. Oh, so good. Does Lundy try it again? Porcelli's loving this. He's starting to check out. Just the tiniest of mistakes from Ted Burns opened the door for Carter Lundy. Now they're going to have to play nice if they want to catch David Porcelli. He is a full 2 seconds ahead.
Yeah, it's not a draft lock race, as we said, but it's going to be a lot to overcome. It seems like Ted has been a little bit quicker, but they've been so even. But then again, we've seen Ted come back from bigger deficits.
Yeah, 5-lap averages, 128.2 for David Porcelli, 128.51 for Burns, 128.56 for Lundy. So, man, Sean Malloy making up a little bit of ground here as well. Big question now is, are we racing for second place? Or are they going to have a shot to catch leader David Porcelli? As it stands right now, it's about 1.6 seconds, and it's going to take a mistake from Porcelli, I think, for these guys to get caught up.
Yeah, I don't want to expand on any of that at risk of bringing in the commentator's curse. Oh boy.
Like that?
Yeah.
James,
I wasn't talking about. I wasn't talking about Carter. That doesn't count.
Commentator's curse is always the fault of James Watson on these broadcasts.
That's fair.
Seeing trouble for Nicholas Daly. Mike Prudhomme also having an issue. Let's take a look here and see what happened to Nicholas Daly a little bit ago here, as things have definitely settled down. Daly battling with Yoshikawa. Wow!
It just snapped on him.
That was weird.
But is it netcode? Like, that was so violent.
Yeah, that was like steering failure levels of...
Like something in the rear just broke. Jeez.
Almost catching a weird bump or something here. Picking up Rod Eskew and Tyler Maccabee. Eskew in the yellow and white, kind of vintage-esque Renault colors, sort of. Great Tony Kanaan scheme, by the way, on the 19 of Maccabee. That is an old IRL throwback. This battle settles down. Let's go a little bit further back. Simon Fell, Liam Loisel, 17th and 18th. They're going to be fairly close to each other. Well, hold on. Back up here. Eskew and Maccabee. Let's take a look here. Stephen Thompson having a little bit of an off track, costing himself a spot to Nikita Lastochkin. Slides it out onto the asphalt,
wow.
though. That's how you do it right there.
Yeah, it ended pretty baller, not going to lie.
Nick saying clip the grass under brakes, I guess.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Slide back. Mike Holler, Brian Labarge battling tight. Well, they were really tight. Split second ago. Labarge making a little bit of a bobble there. Talking to some of the drivers in the pre-race, one mentioned, without the chicanes, this is the best racetrack in England. Ballsy, kind of hot take-ish, but I would say you could make an argument for it. This place is really, really fun to drive.
Yeah, honestly, I do enjoy running this track more than old Silverstone. New Silverstone, I don't want to get into that. But like, oh,
wow!
Send. Wow!
Big send
my
from
Lord.
Nikita Lastochkin. Westshire, Liam Loisel both having very brief off tracks. This racing settles down. We'll pick up Rod Eskew, Tyler Maccabee again. Nothing going on at the front, by the way, except that the gap is closing. It's down to 1 1/4 seconds with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, it looks like he's cut about 8/10 in the last 2 laps. So I might not be over.
May not be over, and the comment from Jason Owens, almost in range of suck. Yeah, you're starting to talk about getting into where the draft can really help the pull forward. I just don't know that there's enough time with 3 laps to go. Even if you get there, you still got to get past them.
Yeah, as we documented, it's not easy to pass, but if anyone can do it, it'd be Ted.
Yeah, well, he hasn't had to pass anybody yet this season. Down to 3 to go at Oulton Park. Quickly becoming one of my favorites on the iRacing platform. Man, so many little off tracks. Mike Holler having a brief one. Richard Holt having one. Good Lord, what was that? All I heard was a squeak. I'm guessing by how tight it's gotten. Little bobble from Teddy B.
Yeah, and Carter, it looked like he was close to going off. Which, for some reason, I don't think that was actually an off track with how weird Oulton is about off tracks.
Yeah, I did not see it as listed as an off track on our screens, but the very brief ones we also don't see a lot. So Carter Lundy definitely showing a whole bunch of race car in the mirrors of Ted Burns. And that has the gap back up to 1.5 seconds. This could be a walk-off for David Porcelli, barring a mistake. And we see a little bit of dust kicked up. Lundy, big dive! Wow! Get after it, son. Oh, man, tucks right back in line. He's going to get the draft down into 1 again. Here's the dive again. Oh, he clips the curb. Oh, what a save! Oh, big wide from Carter Lundy that time. That one did show up as an off track. Everett Paddock having a brief one. Nagisa Yoshikawa having a brief off track as well. The gap back to almost 2 seconds now to race leader David Porcelli. It's really going to take something heroic out of Ted Burns to get the job done now. With a little over 1 1/4 laps to go. White flag is out, 1 lap to go here in U.S. Open Wheel C class from Oulton Park.
Ooh.
Wow, that did not register as an off track. I don't know.
Of course it did.
Hey, I'm all for it. Off tracks
Right?
should start a little bit wider than they do, and the grass should be the penalty.
Full agreement.
Through Britain's, down Hilltop to Hislops for the final time. Still Porcelli in the lead. We're going to hold this battle between Burns and Lundy. It's the tightest one on the racetrack right now. Through Clay Hill, Water Tower, down to Druids. Under the Warwick Bridge. Wow, big off track there from Carter Lundy. Through the final corner, twin checkers will go in the air, and David Porcelli claims the win at Oulton Park. Fantastic drive.
Oh my God.
Porcelli takes the win over Burns and Lundy. Everett Paddock made things very tight with Richard Holt right at the end as well. Entered the night carrying the number 1, and he's going to carry it all the way to victory lane. David Porcelli getting his first win of the broadcast season. Overall, third win in U.S. Open we'll see this season. 4 starts, 3 wins, 3 top 5s. And he leads every lap from start to finish, almost doubling his lap led total on the season. Let's take a look at your full race results. Porcelli by 1.4 seconds over Ted Burns. Carter Lundy rounding out the podium. Sean Malloy, Esquire, Richard Holt, the top 5. Everett Paddock, Nagisio Shikawa, Rod Eskew, Nikita Lastochkin, and Brian Labarge completing the top 10. 11 to 15, Mike Collar, Stephen C. Thompson, Dylan Vilashinsky, Wes Shire, and Simon Fell. Liam Loisel, Drew Johnson, Michael Prudhomme, Brian Karszewski, Tyler Maccabee, and Nicholas Daly completing the field. Daly going out early in this one. Maccabee finishing 1 lap down. David Porcelli burning them down for the first time this season. Nice of Dylan Vilashinsky to drive that car back to pit lane and hit the box appropriately, by the way. Not enough of that happening on the iRacing platform. Everybody crosses the start-finish line, slams on the brakes, and gets out as fast as humanly possible.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Run the cool-down lap, people. It gets you additional safety rating. I know these guys don't care, but it is definitely good for the numbers. Let's get ready, bring in our race winner here into victory lane. Man, I'll tell you what, this guy was fantastic tonight. David Porcelli, fantastic show tonight. Talk us through things. Exciting lap 1, and then you were kind of able to just do your thing there at the front.
Yeah, it's a really difficult track to pass at, and it requires a mature mind state. So I was really feeling good going into this race, knowing that if I could put it on pole, it's 0 to slim chances that Ted would be able to get around me. So that was my goal. I did it. I ran out of gas crossing start finish on my second quali lap, so I actually had like another 700ths in it. So taking pole by 0.2, that feels really good. I was on the back foot at the start and just had to sort of recollect myself. And after that point, it was just a matter of I was pushing, but it was more about keeping it on track. Because I'm sure the first person to make a mistake was the most vulnerable in that race. I can't tell you, as a fact, because it was all in my mirrors, but I'm sure that's what I'll see in the broadcast.
Well, that's kind of what I would imagine you were hoping for, was keep it all in the mirrors. And that's not necessarily the easiest thing to do here, because it's sort of, we were talking about it earlier, it's sort of Nürburgring-esque, a little Road Atlanta, a little Road America. This place is technical as it is fast.
Yeah, absolutely. I was saying to my stream right before we started that I actually prefer hot lapping this track to racing it because the race is ultimately just a hot lapping session, and whoever makes the first mistake loses their spot. So it's really exciting. It's super duper challenging, and it's super duper technical, which is why I think I took home the win this week.
Well, and it was a big win for you as well. A monster strength of field, 32.96. That's going to help you in a big way in the overall points championship here as you try to chase down Teddy B.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm a week down, so the points won't really balance out until we're into like week 9, I guess. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I think we're pretty close, and I'm looking forward to the battle for the rest of the season.
All right, buddy. Well, before we let you go here, make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in. And once again, fantastic drive here tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, man. Shout out to Satellite Racing, Team Watson Racing. Thanks so much for your help, guys. Shout out to Racecraft One Indianapolis as always. Thanks to National Racing Network for putting on a killer doubleheader broadcast this season. And I hope to see you in the booth next week.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you for checking in with us. We appreciate that. And now time to check in with our runner-up. It's still date night. We're still talking to you on a Thursday night, but this time as the runner-up finisher. I'll tell you what, Ted, a really nice run tonight. You had a bonsai lap 1. Talk us through that kind of the mindset of I've got to get to the front in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, our qualifying was so tight. I think it was like 0.02 seconds would have put me into P2. So I knew it was going to be tight there. I was really confident in my race pace. So I knew I had to get some passing done early because there's opportunities on lap 1, but at this track, as I'm sure you guys saw, it's so hard to pass. So as we were rolling up, I was on the comms with the team. I was telling them, like, it's going to be an early green. Like, they throw it before they even say the safety car's in. And I was just like right on top of it, and I saw the lights go, and I got a huge jump on everyone. And thanks to Sean for giving me a little bit of space because it was getting really tight there heading into turn 1, but it somehow worked out. And that was I'd say definitely best move of the race that I was able to do because it got me up there in a P2, and from there it was tough.
Yeah, well, it was tough the rest of the way because Carter really pushed you hard for the entirety of this race. It seemed like you might make a little mistake. He would follow up with a little mistake, but you guys were really racing hard and side by side for a lot of this thing.
Yeah, it was so hard because I had a bit of a draft, but sometimes I'd stall out on David, and I couldn't really get quite a good look on him. And so Carter was always right there. I knew that if I went a little bit wide trying to make a move on David and compromise my line too much, that he was going to be going right through. So it was just hard, not battling one guy but battling 2 at the same time, and so it was very taxing. I don't know if it's just the direct drive that I got this week or what, but I'm the sweatiest I've ever been after any sim race.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you about that. We saw the pictures in the Discord here of getting things put together, and how big of an adjustment is that to move from whatever you were working with to the new stuff?
Yeah, I'd been on a Thrustmaster T300 for the last 5 years, and I think the biggest adjustment is actually just getting used to the new steering wheel because it's just a different feel on the hands. Buttons are in a little bit different spot. I think that takes a bit more adjusting than the higher force that I'm getting now with the direct drive. But it's been a big adjustment, but I think it's definitely going to be for the better. And just can't wait to get back on some of the tracks I'm a bit more familiar with.
That has to be absolutely terrifying to the rest of the field to hear that you can get better. But, man, congratulations on the podium finish here tonight. Great run. And before we let you go, get all the sponsor plugs and thank yous taken care of.
Of course, love to thank Downforce Racing. We had a fast car out there. I think we got the fastest lap in the race, so huge props to those guys for making a otherwise difficult track a bit easier to drive. Huge props to David. He drove an awesome race, so congrats to him on the win. And thanks to everyone for coming out, racing this series, and making this broadcast an awesome one to race each week.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you checking in with us and hanging out for just a few minutes. And now a guy that we're getting familiar with talking to this guy as well, Carter Lundy, again, putting on an absolutely incredible show here tonight. Man alive. watching you and Ted, I don't know how you guys were able to get that close and not wad those race cars up.
Yeah, we had a small contact when I made a move on turn one. I think not for him, and on the replay it was like tiny bit apart, but in the race I got like a 2x. But yeah, we were both on the limit. We were going side by side, pretty much everywhere you can think of, into the chicanes, the banking, yeah, basically everywhere. But yeah, during the beginning of the race, we were just sitting behind David a little bit. I think trying to break away from the pack, and then
Oh, good.
sorry, go on.
Good.
Okay, sorry. Where was I? Yeah, we were just I was letting them stay ahead of me, and I wasn't really trying to battle Ted too much because I knew battling losing you a lot of time here. So then I knew David would have broke away, which is not what I wanted. I wanted to win the race, of course, but once he made that lock up into the banking, I kind of had to go for it. You're not gonna sit behind on an opportunity like that. And then our battling after that basically made David pull away, and then it was just too even to catch up. We were basically all three of us same lap times, and then I was getting really aggressive because I wanted to move on Ted because I knew it's super hard to pass. And then we made a small touch, and he managed to stay ahead. But it was a great race.
Yeah, you make a great point, by the way, on the consistency of lap times. A tenth, 1.14 seconds separating the three of you over a 15-lap average. Insane running that kind of pace at the front of the field all night and literally not being able to make, I mean, the tiniest of mistakes would be enough to end the race for you.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We were all three of us basically on the limit every corner of every lap. I was I was maybe a bit too much over the limit. I lost like 70 safety rating from this race because of the off tracks, but it was worth it to keep pushing them.
Well, by the way, thank you very much for the replay on the U.S. Open Wheel D-Class race that we're going to be showing here in just a minute. And also, you're dispelling the myth, or proving to be a myth, the whole guys running F1 paint schemes on non-F1 cars on iRacing. So thank you much for putting on a hell of a show here. And before we let you go, get any of those sponsor plugs and thank yous taken care of.
Thanks to you guys. Thought of it this time. Thanks for the great broadcast. I'm looking forward to watching it back. Yeah, I mean, thanks to Alfa Romeo, I guess.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to check in and hang out with us here on a Thursday night. And man, as we get ready to wrap this one up, James, holy cow. Yes, please, more of this every week.
Yeah, this race was absolutely fantastic. Like, this has to be one of the best ones we've ever broadcasted.
And that's really saying something because we've done some incredible shows in the Indy Pro 2000 car. Man, I just, as always, the drivers and this car and at this point the tracks that we're visiting, best car on the service, hands down. Everybody can him and haw about NASCARs and dirts and whatevers. Nope. Give me Indy Pro all day, every day. But with that, we are going to get the heck out of here for just a couple of minutes. The stream is going to stay up, but we've got to get the replay loaded up here for our next show, which is going to be U.S. Open Wheel D-Class right here from Oulton Park. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the U.S. Open Wheel Doubleheader right here on the National
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Welcome back, everybody, to Oulton Park Raceway. The stars and cars of the U.S. Open Wheel D Series coming to you now here on the National Racing Network. And qualifying already underway for these guys. And James, I'll tell you what, I don't know how you follow up that C-Class race with something, but I got a hunch we're going to see some insanity here out of U.S. Open Wheel D as well.
Yeah, honestly, it might even be even more insane, which is saying a lot, because that Indy Pro race was, woo, that was something.
Yeah, that one was crazy. This one, a 4,004 iRating. Yes, 4,004. Ridiculous is what we're talking about right here. Following along with Carter Lundy as he is working his qualification laps. And, well, because we're watching a replay, we won't be able to kind of hop around from car to car here. But we should... Well, maybe not. Let's clear that out. Showing the old data here with the new as well. So get the lap in the books, and then we'll be able to show you all the updated stuff on the timing tower here. So one of the things about the D-Class race here, James, is the strength of field is higher. We had more splits. I believe it was 3 splits for USF as opposed to 2 splits for Indy Pro. But that doesn't necessarily make things easier because everybody is just really freaking good.
Yeah, it makes it harder because you have a lot more talent consecrated into one race. And so you're not going to have any easy quote-unquote positions. Like, this is just a race chock full of just unreal talent. It's shocking to see an SOF this high consistently.
Yeah, as always. This one, I think, is going to be really good. Let's take a look here while we are watching qualifications here. We'll give you the reminder of the overall broadcast championship points. Ted Burns leading this one, heading into the night with 60 points. Carter Lundy, David Porcelli, Nagisa Yoshikawa, and Nicholas Daly, the top 5. Looking at the points for the USF Series cars, still all Teddy B at the top, but things are a little bit different here. Carter Lundy runs second, a 3-way tie for third between David Porcelli, Jerome Lamy, and Nagisa Yoshikawa. Matt Clark up into the 6th position. Still a whole lot to go here. Now, with no drop weeks, Ted Burns has a little bit of an advantage, but things can close up in a hurry here. All it takes is one bad week.
Yeah, it's crazy just seeing how close this championship is, despite the run that Ted's been on to start the season. Like, I know it's still early, but man, seriously, one mistake will just absolutely flip this up on its head.
Yeah, you can say that one again. And taking a look, let's see. Going to pull the point standings up here. Now, things are going to be a little bit off here because we're doing this post-race, obviously. So this race will be taken into account in the point standings for the U.S. Open Wheel D Championship. But as we're getting the numbers pulled up here, still very early in the season. There's a lot of drop weeks that are going to come into play here, James. So you can't start counting chickens or anything yet, but at the same time, the guys that are up at the front, you can kind of expect to be at the front for most of the season here.
Yeah, we'll probably get a few more names kind of jump up and get a little closer, but I think we're starting to get a pretty good picture on who's going to be the main pieces fighting for the crown at the end of the season.
Yeah, you tend to think so. I mean, Ted Burns entering this race, 10 starts, 8 wins, 8 top 5s, 8 pole positions. Average start of 2, average finish of 2. He's sitting on 552 points. Carter Lundy, second in the overall point standings at 518 markers. If you look at Division 1, it's actually a bigger number, a bigger gap, because Carter Lundy is a Division 2 driver. I don't know how Carter Lundy is a Division 2 driver. Let me pulling up his numbers real quick and his driver stats page here on iRacing, because it's, well, quite frankly, ridiculous. An I rating of 53.37 has him in Division 2. I don't get it. I would love to know how iRacing figures out the divisions. That might be more complicated than the point standings, quite frankly.
So the division is set on your I rating of where it is at the beginning of the season. So if I remember correctly, I believe Division 2 is from like 26 to 3,200. So now that he's well above that, he will definitely be Division 1 next season.
Yeah, just slightly. Just for a point of reference, Ted Barnes is getting his driver page pulled up. Teddy B sitting as a 61.79 I rating. Actually, it took a little bit of a dip over the early part and even into the middle part of 2022, but starting to peak back up again. Man, it is incredible to look at some of the graphs that these drivers have. It's going to be interesting. Getting a comment here from Jason Owens. I don't know. This is a fair question. Will the 2 ovals play a role in the final championship? That's a great question, because there's only 2 of them, but we're going to get a lot of oval specialists in those races, especially with the shenanigans that are going on with iRacing and IndyCar. Interesting is kind of saying the least there of what we could see on the ovals.
Yeah, and just ovals are a lot more unpredictable as it is because of the close confines and it being such a different way of racing. So I'm really curious to see how it's going to work out. I mean, Ted and David, they know what they're doing. They're damn good. They're still going to be fine. I'm excited to see Carter on an oval.
Yeah, Sean Malloy's saying nope. Possibly, but it is time to go racing here in U.S. Open Wheel D Series. Carter Lundy, the guy we followed around, picking up the pole position for this one with a lap time of 1 minute 33.987. David Porcelli going to be second quick. He will line up on the outside of row number 1. Ben Holko, Nagisa Yoshikawa on row number 2. Nikita Lastochkin and Nicholas Daly on row 3. Richard Holt, Rod Eskew on row 4. Sean Malloy Esquire and Sean Dunham on row number 5. Ted Burns and Mike Holler occupying row number 6 for the start of this one. All alone on row number 7 will be the number 12 of Richard Olson. 13 cars in this race that saw 3 separate splits. Just waiting on David Porcelli to pop into the starting grid here, and we will be ready to go racing. The other one that really we have to keep an eye on, James, is they're short. This one only a 10-lap race compared to the 17 that we just ran in Indy Pro. It definitely makes things feel a little bit different, even more sense of urgency, like I gotta go.
I definitely believe it adds to the sense of urgency, especially at a track like this. We talked multiple times about in the Indy Pro SOF about it's really hard to pass. So if you're gonna make a move, it's either gonna be an all-out send or you're gonna have to set them up. You're gonna have to stick with them for a few corners and set them up and then get the move. If you're starting in 6th or 7th, you really don't have that added time to be able to set those moves up. So you just kind of gotta send.
Yeah, and after the land rush we saw to turn number 1 in the C-Class race, I can only imagine what could possibly be coming here in D-Class. Through the final couple of corners here, already through Lodge, making their way out to Deer Leap. Green flag in the air. We're underway here at Oulton Park. Everybody cleanly through turn 1. A little bit surprising there. We didn't see anything crazy at the start. Porcelli having a peek on Lundy, decides to back out of it. Oh, man, maybe a little bit of a bobble there, though, by Lundy. He got it off the racetrack ever so slightly. David Porcelli through to the race lead. Ben Holko doing a nice job holding with these two right at the start. Trouble for Richard Olson. Oh, we got Ted Burns off the racetrack as well.
Whoa.
Big trouble towards the back of the pack. Let's see what happened here with Richard Olson. Oh, try that one again. Oh, a little bit of a twitch. Wow, man, a couple of cars hard into the wall. Sean Malloy involved in that one as well. And Olson, the one able to continue on. Oh, let's see. Well, I guess we're not going to be able to do the instant replays here, but let's go back this way. See, this is why we got to get this one done early here, James. I have to make sure that we're available on time for these so we can do the live call here. But so we'll go back to, we'll show you the replay of the start of the race here. Take a look and see what happened here with Olson, Burns, and Malloy early on in this race. Because it seemed like that there was the little bit of contact from Olson. Really surprising to see Ted Burns and Sean Malloy here at the back of the pack. I would imagine a couple of didn't qualify scenarios, or at least didn't get a lap in qualifying. Definitely saw a little bit of the kind of land rush to turn number 1.
Well, at least it was cleaner than the second split.
Yes, second split was, quite frankly, a dumpster fire early on here. Man, that was a big dive by Oulton up the outside of Mike Holler. And there you see the contact. Burns bounces it off the wall. Malloy bounces it off the wall. And really not anything anybody could do from there either. So now we head back to the front of the field, and obviously this will be the last of the replays, and unfortunately we won't be able to show you the timing tower or the ticker for the rest of the show. But Porcelli, Lundy, Holko, Yoshikawa, Lastochkin, the top 5. Jason Owens saying pastoral views of the UK countryside there. Yes, I will say this is one of the herdier parts of the King's Land over there. I enjoyed the views being over there not too long ago.
And our very own P. Bizzle and Mike Berry are not that far away from here.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're currently over trying not to get arrested in Ireland somewhere. Where I believe it's about 5 in the morning over there, I guess, 6 in the morning. So they're probably just getting back to their hotel.
Yeah, still very much drinking.
Slide back a little bit here. Ben Holko, Nagisa Yoshikawa, they're fairly tight to each other. A little bit deeper in the field as well. Rod Eskew, Richard Holt battling. To this point, everybody kind of playing nice. And that's something that not necessarily is unexpected here, James, because quite frankly, the cars are so much down on power and downforce compared to the Indy Pro. It almost is like a momentum track. You just have to hit your marks or you're going to give up a ton of time.
Pretty much, yeah. And we get a little more draft shenanigans here with this car than we were seeing with the PM18 earlier tonight. But not by much.
Richard Holt is checking in saying it's 4 a.m. over there. So that means Bizzle and Barry are still drinking. And Richard, you are a saint for hanging out with us.
Seriously. Yeah, Patrick's probably on his 10th beer right now, knowing him.
Approaching kitchen floor is all I'm going to say on that one.
And he'll lay down next to Mike, who's already been there from like 2 hours ago.
Well, these guys aren't here to defend themselves, and that's okay. Sean Malloy getting back on the racetrack.
We'd still be saying that to them if they were here, so I don't think that really factors in.
That is very, very true. Battle for the lead is the tightest one on the racetrack. Call it half a car length as they get down to Hislops, the second of the chicanes here at Oulton Park. Everybody else separated by a half second or more. Oh man, Lundy thought about making the move. Same story, slightly different participants than what we saw in the IP2K race. There, it was Lundy and Ted Burns. This time it's Porcelli and Lundy. Just back behind this battle.
Third.
I was going to say, this battle getting really tight as well.
Whoa!
Oh, hold on to it.
Wow, that was a send. Oh, crossover.
Yoshikawa and Lechtochkin battling big time. Oh, and Nikita almost goes around. He does. Oh, there's carnage towards the back of the pack. Lechtochkin has to take to the pits. He grabs the toe. Nagisa Yoshikawa will have to take the toe as well. That was 3, 4, 5, all getting into it.
Wow.
And man, that takes out several contenders for a podium position. Here comes Lundy. Big dive up on Porcelli. Wow, clipped the curb. Nice job by both of those guys to keep it straight. Lundy may have the positioning as they get to turn 1. And Porcelli kind of has to let him go. Nice pass. Porcelli trying to fight right back. Does having less speed on the racetrack sometimes make passing a little bit easier?
In my experience, no. I feel like the higher power, it has a greater variance, and so it's easier to make a mistake. Where a lower power car, you have less areas to make a mistake. Like the best that I can think of is like the SK modified, where it's so low powered, the cars are ridiculously even. You're pulling off the corner at the same speed as the car ahead, so you pretty much have to dive bomb to have any sort of hope on passing. And I think that kind of plays into these cars too at a truck like this.
Wow, man, what a battle for the lead here. Side by side through almost a third of the lap there. Man, Lundy going back at him again. Porcelli going to run a little bit wide. Going to force Lundy to get back in line, but now he's going to have that little bit of toe. Here comes the lunge back to 1. Oh, they're both off the racetrack. Oh, and they saved it.
Oh, my goodness.
Whoa, buddy. Porcelli and Carter Lundy. Good Lord, boys. And they're going to continue the battle. Holy cow.
I almost wonder if Carter let him back by because of the pass.
I don't know, man, but good Lord.
I don't know. It was a heck of a run out of the corner. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong.
Definitely no race control saying give the spot back. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, probably a bit of fair play.
Nicholas Daly battling with Richard Holt. Ben Holko just ahead in the fight for the 3rd position. So this is 3, 4, 5 on the racetrack as they run now. Jason Owens preaching to the choir here. If only most of the service knew what they were missing in these 2 series. Yes, I would agree with that. Oh, by the way, leaders are still nose to tail. Porcelli and Lundy going absolutely ballistic. Oh, little wiggle out of Porcelli. Lundy's going to have the run up the inside. Carter Lundy checking in the comments. I gave it back. Would have been a bit unfair not to. You are more of a gentleman than I am.
You mean I actually called that right? I was actually right about something during a broadcast for once?
Blind squirrels. Something about blind squirrels and nuts, man.
Oh my goodness. Miracles do happen, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, there's your Christmas miracle right here on NRN. They're going to do it again!
Oh!
Porcelli barely off the racetrack.
Oh my goodness. I thought I saw Carter's rear wiggle and I almost died.
Carter has that effect on people, I've been told. Man, it is fun watching them dive into that bank corner. I believe that is, yeah, Shell Oil's corner. Yes, the comments from Jason Owens here. Yes, Oval Week is absolutely all take and absolutely no give.
The only giving on Oval Week is when you're like, yeah, no, I'm going to back out of it. They're all going to murder each other.
No, it's giving Punterino is what the give is.
Oh, here's another send.
Down to 2 laps to go, and the leaders are still going absolutely insane, fighting for this top spot. A couple other close-ish battles.
Oh. Oh, man, David needed the entire corner to gather that up.
Yeah. And now this fighting has brought Ben Holko right back into it. He's gone from about 2 seconds back to, call it a half second back of David Porcelli. White flag is out. 1 lap to go at Oulton Park. This place has been fantastic. Both races tonight.
Ooh, he's got a run on him.
Yeah, he's got to run it. He's going to get a little bit of the draft. Does Porcelli make the deep dive into either of the chicanes? Probably a little bit too far back to attempt it into Britain's. But a big corner exit could get him a run down into Hislops. He's going to be there. Lundy covering the inside lane ever so slightly. Porcelli right back within a car length. Oh, and Porcelli bobbles. He's off the racetrack. Again, David Porcelli holds on. Now Porcelli going to have to try to hold off Ben Hulko. Through the final couple of quarters. Oh, Lundy got a wheel off. Twin checkers. Carter Lundy picks up the win at Oulton Park. Followed by David Porcelli, Ben Hulko, Richard Holt, Nicholas Daly, your top 5.
Wow, what a night of racing.
Good Lord, man.
Oh my god, the entire night from like Esra on was just insanity.
Great racing. It's not the real world. It's not the real thing. I will be the first person to tell you that. Nothing beats being at a real world racetrack. But at the same time, good Lord, man. Watching talented people do what they're good at, oh, it was fantastic. Let's take a look at the final race results here. From the U.S. Open Wheel D Series at Oulton Park, Carter Lundy getting the win over David Porcelli by about 9/10 of a second. Ben Hulko rounds out the podium. Richard Holt, Nicholas Daly, your top 5. 6 through 10 going to be Sean Dunham, Ted Burns, Richard Olson, Mike Collar, and Sean Malloy. Rod Eskew, Nikita Lestochkin, all finishing on the lead lap. Nagisa Yoshikawa going out after contact. He will finish on lap number 3. He finishes 7 laps behind your leaders. Man, I'll tell you what, James, like you said it, we got a fantastic night of racing here. The Ezra race was fantastic. Craig Forsyth getting a netcode enhanced win. Put an asterisk on it. You claiming a championship over there in a, well, what quite frankly is the swan song for that league, only because in iRacing won't let us broadcast the IR18 car anymore. That was fun. And then 2 great races here in the U.S. Open Wheel D Championship. Carter Lundy checking in the comments. I got to get this one in as much as I can't stand the place. Road Atlanta will be even better. I have to agree with you.
Yes.
Road America is always great in the Indy Pro car. Road Atlanta, I should say. Both of them are great in the Indy Pro car. And we're going to see some really fantastic action coming up here out of these cars. What do we think here, James, in our last show of 2022? I can't believe we're saying that. What a great year. Thank you for being my partner in crime here a couple of nights a week. A fun year of iRacing stuff here.
Yeah, our first full year of being together and screaming like morons for 2 to 3 days a week.
Yeah, it's been fun, and quite frankly, we got a whole lot more coming up too. Road Atlanta, Phoenix, and our first visit to Rudskogen. Haven't been to Norway in quite a while. In fact, I think the last one was when we went to the Lankebahn. We went to Hell once for one of the TNT special events. But we're going to head back to Norway here coming up in week 6. But first, we've got Road Atlanta next week. Again, another great car and track combination, both U.S. Open Wheel C and D.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the rest of the schedule, especially with us having Oval Week coming up soon.
Yes, Oval Week will be here. Oh, I can't wait. And quite frankly, seeing that January tick over to 2023 is really making me feel old. But with that, it is time for us to get the heck on out of here. Great show this week, as always, by the stars and cars of the U.S. Open Wheel C and D. Another great show out of the Ezra IndyCar Series as well. For James Watson, thank you, Carter Lundy, for the replay. Everybody here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen. My name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will talk to you all next year. See you later, everybody.